Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our DAO1 Daily Call. My name is Bruce Hughes. I have the privilege of getting to advise the DAO1 Foundation, the team behind the platform and the services that we're going to touch on today, on how to take the products, how to take education and information out into the market. Now, on today's call, we are going to separate it into two parts. Part one, we're going to go into the DAO1 dashboard. We're going to touch on the product, the SmartBot that's currently available, and we're going to touch on the referral program. And then in part two, where I want to spend most of the time today, we're going to have a look at a tool that's been designed to help our community take the products, the service, and the business opportunity out into the market. So if you're new and you've joined us, you're going to hear about the product, you're going to see the referral program. And then if you're part of our community who's been here since day one, or this is your first month, and you've been wondering how you can start systematically and deliberately positioning this into the market, we're going to look at tools today to do that. So this is not your traditional DAO1 member call. In other words, we're focused just on DAO1. This is more like a DAO call, when a community comes together, creates tools, creates systems, and creates structure for the community to win. So let's go into today's part one. I'm going to share my screen with you. If you're watching this as play, today's date is the 10th of March, 2026. And we're going to pop across and have a look at the SmartBot product. For those of you who don't know what a SmartBot is, it is simply a bot that is coded to execute trades in and out of decentralized markets. That could be decentralized exchange or decentralized OTCs that are built into the crypto market. Now, the good news is these bots do not sleep. They execute according to the rules that they've been given. That means you and I don't have to be trading experts. We don't have to understand crypto markets. We don't have to go and read the headlines and try and predict where price movement is going to go. These bots simply go out according to their coding. They look for buy and sell opportunities. The crypto markets are open 24/7. They don't sleep. They're not like stocks and shares markets or Forex markets that close down on the weekends. These just keep operating all the time. The SmartBot comes at a cost of either $200, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, all the way up 10 price points to $70,000. That's the cost of the actual product, the code, the data that goes and executes activity. And then there is a load, that is the amount of crypto balance that you are going to expose to market conditions. So two things to understand: cost, that's your expense; load, that's your trading balance that activates the bot. That balance belongs to you. And of course, any of the profits that might be generated belong to you as well. One major rule that this bot follows is the 360% rule. So currently, all the bots that we're looking at the moment, that are purchased at the moment, have a code that gives them a maximum target value. Now, markets move up and down, so we don't actually know when it'll hit this target value. That's the part we don't know. We don't know if this is something that's going to trade for 5 years, for 5 months, for 5 minutes, because no one can control or predict markets. All this bot is going to do is open and close trades, and it's going to look for opportunities to profit. Now, we can have a look at the past, in other words, what the bot has done previously, but this doesn't mean it's a prediction of the future. Markets change all the time, and there is a risk in that. I want to be very honest with that. Anytime that you are putting money to work into any market, whether it's the housing market, stocks and shares market, crypto market, Forex market, it's obviously going into volatility, movement. I'm currently based in Dubai. We've got Iran and the US and Israel all boxing each other at the moment. And we're sitting in a position where we've got a couple of missiles flying over. Our markets in the last week have changed quite radically. So there are those things in the market that we don't have control of. What the bot does is it tries to ignore all that noise and it just looks for buy and sell opportunities. So let's have a look at what the bot has done in the last 3 months. We're looking at a Helix bot. So this is a $70,000 purchase, then loaded with another 70,000. That load balance, that trade balance belongs to me. And it goes in and out of the market trading that balance. So what has it done since November 2025? It has done 21.4% in the last 3.5 months. What can I do with that? Well, I can choose to claim it as something called a PERTM. It's a cryptocurrency coin. I can claim those profits as USDT. That's a stable coin back to the US dollar. Or I can choose to compound those profits back into the trade bot. Now, you can see that since the 25th of November, my business partner and I have compounded quite aggressively. And then in February this year, so just less than a month ago, the 20th of February, we started alternating. So we started claiming, so in other words, claiming the profit back to ourselves, compounding, claiming, compounding. And so we will alternate between those two options going forward. We can have a look at a smaller bot at a smaller price point. So I do have a $1,000 bot here called the Photon. Let's go have a look at it quickly. The Photon bot costs $1,000 to purchase. That's the cost of having something not sleep trading for 360%. I loaded 1,000 USDT in here. That's the loading balance, the trade balance that belongs to me. And that balance has been exposed to market conditions. Since November 2025, it's done 21.1%. And you can see again, we've compounded quite aggressively, and we have obviously claimed a little bit of profits as well. All trades can be tracked in the trade history. We've got over 72 pages that you can go and scroll through. So that is the past performance currently in the current market conditions. When you're having a look at that bot or you're looking at your budget, etc., you can decide for yourself, what is the price point that you're comfortable with? What are you looking to put into this? Like you would with any decision that you make. And I'm going to show you some tools today that have been created by our community to really help people have a look at trying to understand the numbers and trying to make decisions. So we're going to look at that in a moment. Part 2 of part 1 is the referral plan. So if you haven't looked at the referral plan, you can download it directly from your DAO1 back office. It sits under this section here called resources. You can come down to the active members plan and you can download that. I've already downloaded the active members plan. Very briefly, there's 3 types of commissions to earn. There's a direct commission. Those are people that you know that you're connected to. You can earn 20% commission on the smart bot purchase, not the load. The load belongs to them, it's their balance. You can also earn what we call uni-level commissions up to 9 levels deep. Think about a circle of influence that slowly expands. The larger your circle of influence, you get access to what we call micro commissions, 7% of sales, 4% of sales, 3% of sales. And then we do have something called a pool commission, which is paid out on total volume of sales moving through your team. Now, what I want to touch on today, which is the main point of today's call, is really specific to the community who've put up their hands and said they want to drive the education, the marketing, the sales of DAO1. So DAO1, we need to understand, is the technology platform. It's a platform that allows our crypto wallets to interact with these technologies like SmartBot and take advantage of the crypto market. The referral program, that's a business opportunity. That's where normal people like you and I can go and speak to our friends, our family, our social media network and say, here is a product that might make sense to you. And based on their purchase, we can earn. Business model. Most people don't know how to get into referral marketing or affiliate marketing because they haven't been taught. In other words, it's not something that is being taught in mainstream schools. It's not something that's being taught in mainstream universities, because it's an industry that has only been around for about 30 years. Having said that, post-COVID, it's the fastest growing sales model in the world, logging in double-digit growth year on year since 2021. And so it is time we started paying attention to it. And there is time that we started using tools and language in order to responsibly take that out into the market. And so I want to share a tool with you today that I think is just absolute genius. So I'm going to come across and show you this tool that's been built out. It's called the 90-Day Brand Blueprint. Inside of it, it has different tools, and we're going to go through each of these together. And I'm going to highlight for you on the white screen behind me what each tool does. So the first tool we're going to look at is the 90-Day Brand Builder. Brand Builder. All this means is here is a way for you to strategically and deliberately start creating content, start creating a voice, and start giving valuable information to your social network. In other words, start creating a brand that educates, give facts and stats, and equips your social media community with information about crypto, Web3, the wealth transfer that's coming on, the history of money, the future of wealth, all of this information that we've got locked into this 90-day program. Now, why would you want to have this in place? Because social media is a massive marketplace. You need to go back 20, 30 years. It's the equivalent of being invited to a business conference, and you've got your business conference lanyard on, and instead of there being 100 people or 1,000 people, you've walked into a room with 2 billion people. And so you want to be able to give value to those 2 billion people. So I want to show you what the 90-day blueprint gives you. It's really, really good. So we're going to skip past these tools. I'm going to come back to them in a moment. But firstly, it gives you a game plan, a monthly game plan and a weekly game plan. Let's look at month's one game plan. It gives you a video script that you can film yourself saying into social media, introducing who you are, what your background is, what you've experienced, and what you're hoping to share over the next 90 days. In other words, you're preparing the community that you're connected to for this journey that you're going on, that you're starting on. It then gives you a week one breakdown. It gives you posts that you can copy, paste, and use in social media. You can even rewrite them. In other words, you can change how it sounds so it sounds more like you, and that'll copy paste into an AI called Claude. So you can do that. There are downloadable posts that you can share. And again, you can download this, put it into your own AI engine and redesign it. That's up to you. But it gives you posts for the whole first week, starting to build up content that is either informing or educational or intriguing, so that you, when you start reaching out to them about products and services like we've looked at, it suddenly starts making sense to people. Now, at the end of week one, there is an awesome downloadable book called Your Economy, Your Rules. Great for mindset, for educating yourself on this thing called the referral market sector, massive double-digit market sector that you can plug into by referring DAO1 products. So you can go through each week like this. It gives you a breakdown. And at the end of each week, again, the good news is it's either going to give you a book or it's going to give you a video that you can watch. So you can go through that by yourself in order to tick the first box when it comes to launching a referral business. And that is what we call the social media box. How to present yourself and present your opportunity, your products, your services to the market. Now, the second tool that we're going to look at there is what we call the marketing conversation. Okay, how do you actually talk to people about DAO1? How do you position the marketing tools or the simulation tools, or maybe how do you invite them to a blockchain workshop or a presentation, or even just something like this, where you can invite them onto a call with me and I can unpack the products and services. There's a very deliberate flow of conversation that every successful business follows. It starts in the invitation to look at the value that you have to offer, and it goes through all these steps until what we call a sale. So whether you are a real estate agent selling homes, or you're a professor or a teacher literally selling concepts and information, the flow that we go through is quite deliberate, it's quite structured. And so I want to show you one of the tools in here that helps you go through a productive conversation with someone, where anywhere in this process, they can either say, yes, this looks interesting, or they can say, no, this is not for me. So let's have a look at that together. I'm going to go back into that same tool that we were on, the 90-day brand blueprint, and I'm going to click on Success Business Blueprint. I'm going to click on that. It's going to open up for me, and it's going to start giving me some useful ways to measure, set goals, and then take action, start the right conversations to hit those goals. Now, if you're part of Dial One and you've been trying to figure out how to create income from selling the products from the referral program, this becomes a very useful tool. You know, according to the region that you're in, what most people's price points are when they're testing a product. It might be as low as $200. So maybe you're going to talk to people about the $200 bot, or maybe you sit in an area where people are comfortable with cryptocurrencies, they're comfortable with trading, and so they've got a higher price point. Whatever that is, you know best what your region is. Select that average price point. I'm going to select 1,000 because it's just easier. And now you can, based on that, set yourself your own direct commission goal. You're starting out and you just want to earn an extra $1,000 for the month. You go and enter that goal there. And now you can say, all right, how quickly do I want to build out my own referral business? Do I want to go 2 cycles a month? In other words, I'm going to accelerate my growth. I'm going to treat my year as though it's broken into 24 slots. Or am I going to go 1 cycle a month? Treat my year like it's got 12 business cycles in it. If you go 1 cycle per month, which is how most people operate, a steady pace, then you know that to earn your $1,000 worth of commission in 1 month, it's going to now reverse engineer how many sales you need to make at that commission amount to earn the 1,000. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Data shows that there is a drop-off rate in any conversation you have, any business you start, based on what you're inviting them to look at, who agrees to actually look at a marketing link or look at a presentation recording or agree to get on a presentation or Zoom. So those numbers are quite radical. It's a big drop off. And then it starts getting interesting. People who actually look at your business link or your marketing link, people who agree to get onto a Zoom call with you to get their questions answered. And based on that, how many sales are made. These are the law of averages. These are just statistics that we've seen across the board in referral marketing. If you ran a YouTube page and you were creating a lot of content and sharing a lot of content, and somewhere in that you were saying, click on my link below to have a look at this product, whatever the product might be, these stats would start lining up. Okay, now based on those stats, you can now start creating a bit of a report card for yourself. You can start breaking down, well, if I've got to start 144 conversations, and this could be, what is that? 6 conversations a day. I think that number is, I can't see, it's too small. Oh, there it is. It's 5 conversations a day. Start 5 conversations a day to get towards your sales target. You can even work as a team. So if I was working with a business mentor, I could say in here, hey, listen, it's the 10th of March. I've managed to have 10 conversations today. 4 people said, yeah, I'm interested. Share a recording with me. Share your marketing link with me. Of those 4, 3 people all watched it, which was great. And all 3 have agreed to get onto a Zoom call with me. They want to get their questions answered. I can now fill out that report card. I can start tracking my business. So it's just a useful tool. Here's where the real power is, though, is that it gives you language depending on how you are growing your business. There's 2 ways to grow a business. You can do it one-on-one, lots of personal conversations, lots of conversations on WhatsApp and Telegram and social media, or you can do what's called group launches, where you are speaking to lots of people, but inviting them to a call where you've got 20, 30, 40 people all together, and you can give them one presentation, one message. Depending on how you want to build, you've got different, what we call conversation threads. Remember what I shared over here? Doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's a natural psychological flow that we follow when we're having conversations. And that natural psychological flow should at any stage allow someone to say yes or no. In fact, we looked at the numbers just now. If you started 180 conversations, you're going to have a drop-off based on yes and no. You're going to have a drop-off based on yes and no. So how do we have these conversations? What is the correct way to talk to people? This is where it becomes powerful. Inside of this, once you've chosen whether you're inviting people to a group call or launch or doing one-on-one, depending on what you choose, it's going to now start giving you copy-paste messages that you can now start editing into your own language that you can send people. Simple copy, change the detail that you want to change on here, and you can now send it off. If you're doing 10 conversations a day, it's great to know that you've got an easy starting point, a natural starting point to start those conversations. If someone says, hey, this isn't for me, like you've said, hey, would you be interested? And they go, no, not really, I'm too busy. Great. Here's a nice professional way to say, hey, no problem. Thanks so much. Let's pick up the conversation in a week or a month or a year's time, whatever. If someone says, well, what's it all about? Great, easy to use resources to answer their question, without vomiting out, all the details of the products and services. You kind of want the presentation or the marketing link to do that. So you can go all the way through this flow, and at any stage, it gives the people you're talking to time to say yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, all the way through. So this Success Business Blueprint is a very handy tool in order to, 1, be able to structure your goals, and 2, be able to structure your conversation. So that's the second tool that we've covered inside of this platform. I will be answering questions at the end, so please, lock those questions in. We're going to have Q&A at the end of the session. Let me go back to the original landing space. So far we've done 90-day brand build. This is important to go and build your brand online and obviously equip yourself mentally. We've done the Success Business Blueprint. So what language, what goals, how to allow people to say yes and no. Let's now also have a look at the Smart Bot Simulator. Started this call, we looked at the history of the Smart Bot. Now, history doesn't guarantee future. But what we can do with a simulator is we can start making this comparable to what is being offered out on the market through some of the more traditional platforms. So let's say someone had a budget of $1,000 that they wanted to maybe put into this. It's going to allow them to see, well, at $1,000, you can afford one of the $200 products and one of the $200 loads, and it's going to say how much budget they have remaining afterwards. You can now bring the simulator down. I'm not going to put it at what it's getting at the moment. It's averaging like 6% at the moment. But what if you even just were in a position where the bot was doing 2% a month? That's still over a year, 24%, which is absolutely phenomenal. But what this tool also does is it starts breaking down the difference between compounding and just claiming profits as you go. It also lets you know, based on this being a 360% target, it tells you more or less what the runway is. How long will the bot trade for if it was doing 2% a month? Well, it would trade for 78 months. What if it was doing 5% a month? It would trade for 32 months, but your profits would be bigger. What if it averaged at 1% a month? And so this simulator becomes a useful tool for people to see where they're at, so what they can afford, and also see, hey, what if the bot does less or more than it's currently doing? And you can send this off. The great news is the way that this has been built is it's a shareable tool. Look at this, that little button there. I can click on that button and it actually copies and pastes that. And I can share that to someone, help answer some of their questions. So there's some very useful tools built in here. Now, the last tool I'm going to show you is the onboarding infrastructure. In other words, what is the infrastructure needed to even buy a smart bot and have a smart bot operating? And so we do have this onboarding that's been built out here. Absolutely love what's been done here. It allows people to start. Yes, I already own crypto, or no, I'm starting from traditional banking. And it slowly takes them through the steps needed to be able to set up the right infrastructure in order to interact with the DAO1 platform. Super helpful, all built into this, this 90-day blueprint with all these easy share buttons at the top here. Now, I remember when I was in my early 20s and I was studying at university, I would have part-time jobs. I was a barman in some cocktail bars, obviously trying to earn tips on weekends. And then I also got introduced to a referral company that was selling products. And I wish I'd had a system that I could follow. Hey, this is what needs to be said to allow people to say yes and no. This is how you plan your month based on your income goal. This is how you start creating a brand for yourself on social media that people want to interact with. Here's some great books that I think you should read in order to get the right mindset. Here's some great videos that really understand how money works, or referral programs work, or economy works. I wish I'd had a system that I could run through. And I wish I had tools to be able to just share with people. Hey, you need help registering? Here's an onboarding tool. I'll send it to you. And you copy paste that link, you send it, and you say to them, let's jump on a call together. I'll walk through that and see, what gaps are missing in your infrastructure. This was built out over the weekend, and this is probably the part that excites me most about being part of a DAO community, is that multiple tools, multiple solutions can be built by the community for the community. And that's probably one of the most exciting things about what we do. We work with everyday people who are looking at creating solutions that make it easier to succeed. What we've got in DAO1 is a technology provider. We've got products that work. We've got smart contracts that execute. We've got value that sits out there that you and I didn't need to create. But what we've got here, when we sit and look at things like this, is we've got a community going, what is the best way to put this out in the market to help people get results? So if you're interested in grabbing this tool, I will be sharing it out into the DAO1 community. It's a free tool because it took, I think, a couple of hours to build out. I had a good chat with another guy. We were sharing ideas and going, how would we make things simpler for our global community? And the good news is, because it's been built out as what's called an HTML file, it just is browser friendly. So you can take those links, put it into a browser, you can navigate it. And because it's browser friendly, you can translate it back to your own language. So for those of you who are interested, please, absolutely, I'll post it into the replay groups. I'll share it there under the replay section, and you can start just playing around with those tools. We can also update it. So anytime that maybe a promotion comes along or a product changes or there's an update made, we can change it centrally, this friend and I, and it then automatically, all the links update globally. So it's just it's a fun tool, and we're really grateful that AI and coding makes that all possible for our whole community. I'm going to pop into the Q&A section, and we're going to take literally 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions that people have. Now, here's the good news. You can't break that tool. Okay, it's there for you to play with, and you can copy paste, put it into your own language so it feels like you. It's not a here's how you have to do it. This is not being presented as a DAO one marketing tool. This is being presented as a DAO community tool, and so make it your own. Put it into the AI chats that you like using. Put it into the filters that you use. Make it yours. It really is. It's open source for everybody to use. Right, I'm just going to check for questions here. Let me scan quickly. Okay, will this be updated when DAO1 updates? Absolutely yes. It's a nice, easy. We can update it once and it updates simultaneously. So yes, great question. We can do that. Is it for free? Absolutely. I'll just share it as a link and then anyone can access it. Let me have a look. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions specific to that. Please understand that if you are referring DAO1 products, that when you help register people, you do need to use your registration link, the referral link that's in your DAO1 page. It is not built with any built-in or embedded links. So anytime someone wants to take action, if they've looked at the information you've sent them, it says on that to reach back to you. In other words, they've got to ask for a registration link from you. Nothing's embedded into the tool, purposely done that. So obviously we can't have people registering with the wrong people. Does the simulator reference the 70-30 split on return? So Mark, a couple of things there. So as the bot is created to aim at 360%, that is what the user gets. The actual bot itself is going to trade to closer to 515% as the minimum target, because that allows for the 30% that goes back into the ecosystem to flow back in every time someone claims. So the person still ends up with their target of 360. So no, we don't over-explain that because some people get radically confused. All we've done in the explanation on the bot is we've said the minimum target for the user, the owner of the bot, is 360%. In reality, it's going all the way to 515.5% because every time they claim, it's splitting 30% into the ecosystem, 70% back to the user. Tina's saying, in no way I was able to find the replays. Yeah, Tina, let me show you where the replays are. Absolutely no problem. It's inside of the DAO1 chat group, has been there for over a year. So I'm going to just share the chat group with you. And you can see where it is. It's fairly easy to find if you know how to find the topics tab on your Telegram channel. So stand by. Let me open up the DAO1 chat. So one of the questions was, Tina saying she cannot find the replay. So I just want to share with her where she finds those. So Tina, if you go into the Telegram chat group, it's called DAO1 chat. Okay, it's an active chat group. It has multiple topics. Now, it might look different on your phone. If you've got a phone, it might be sitting right at the top of the phone. You need to click on the tab and then suddenly it becomes a drop-down menu. But if you scroll down, one of the menu tabs is this thing called replays. And if you click on replays, all the replays that I'm able to post are posted here. So the replay will always show up as a date, brief explanation, YouTube link to the replay, and then I'll try my best to always pull out 1 or 2 minute short clips on anything that I thought was important. So you can find that in the replays tab inside of the DAO1 chat group. That's available to our global community. Okay, and then lastly, what I do want to touch on before we finish this call is there is a DAO1 and Apertum global call happening on Friday. Obviously, with what's happening here in the Middle East at the moment, there needs to be a final decision made and communicated on the Dubai event. So we'll be pushing out that communication on the global call. We're doing 2 calls on Friday so that our global community can get on it. We're doing a morning call and an evening call, and final decisions will be made on that Having said that, definitely secure your tickets, because whether the final decision is push it back slightly or move it to another venue or do something online, whatever that looks like, there's still going to be tickets needed. So we will make a final decision on that. Don't miss the global call on Friday. And that has been communicated into the news section on your DAO One back office. It has been communicated into the DAO One chat group and onto the DAO One Apertum Telegram channel. So it's in 3 places. Thanks so much, everybody. I'm going to jump off the call now. I've got another call to get onto, but thank you for your time. Hope this has been valuable. If you're watching this as a replay, reach back to whoever is sharing this with you, get more information. Thanks, everybody, and take care.